Hey guys, welcome back. I'm out of breath. I've been running around like crazy trying to get everything set up just so I can eat. So, my food probably isn't even warm anymore. The other night, what is today? Today's Thursday. Monday night after Adri's soccer game, we went to La Charreta. It was me, Jay, Adri, Alex, my mom, my stepdad, my dad, and Jay's parents. We all went. And I'm just eating my leftovers. I got the chicken fajita. So I have the chicken fajita just without the wrap, and I put the guacamole and some sour cream in it, and I put like a little bit of cheese on it too. So it's just the mixture. And no wrap. Oh, and rice. I put some rice in here too. I'm starving. These chips, I put them in with my leftovers. Like I put a piece of plastic wrap or like wax paper that they were in the basket, and I put them on top of my food. So some of them are like chewy and some are crispy. Maybe. I have the salsa because I love their salsa, but I also have some Tostitos whole grain scoops. You guys have wanted me to. I said I had a story time to do about like a job that I had, so I might just do that. Let me get a bite though. I'm so hungry. I'm up since 7. It's 1:25, and all I've had is a serving of Cheez-Its. So, I don't know if I'll be able to do a story time. I'm so hungry. I just want to inhale this food. I graduated high school in '97. I started working like at a furniture moving place where my at the time boyfriend worked, and my sister's husband at the time worked there. And after that, I worked at a truck stop in a video store. So it's either 98 or 99 that I started working at this factory. I'm not going to say the name because I don't want to get in trouble. But I worked at one of the plants in Wapak. They have 2 plants. One plant makes burner bowls that go in your stove. And the other one that I worked at makes the back panels for like washers and dryers and stoves. You know, the part that has like all the dials on there. So I worked there. I started working out there just like as a press operator. This is going to be a fail because I'm so hungry. I started working there as a press operator where you would use these big, huge presses, robotic presses. Some are manual to form these pieces of aluminum and steel into the shape for the back panels. But in that plant, at the back of the plant was huge coils of like steel and aluminum that would go through this big machine, and they would run through the washer, and they would get cut to whatever size parts we needed, whether it was for like GE or Whirlpool or Norge or whatever. And there were 3 clean rooms that each had a set of coils. So room 1 ran like smaller back panels, like this big. They were usually pretty small. Room 2 was the UV room, where it used paint that these things had to run through a UV machine and get so many flashes for so many seconds of UV light to cure the paint. And then room 3 was just like bigger panels. I think some of them might have been dishwasher. I don't remember. Because some of them were pretty freaking big. Like, some of them, there were 3 on a sheet. In the cooling room 1, there were just, like, 1 on a sheet. And then, like, the big ones in room 2, they had, like, 4 panels on a sheet. So I go through each machine. Like, you set them on the machine, and then you use a foot pedal. It puts a screen prints them down. Put them on rollers. They go through ovens. After that, they go out to a tape machine where they get that laminate coating on them. And they get stacked in crates to get shipped out or whatever. Some get shipped out flat. Some would actually go to presses where they got formed. We also made like the trim bands for like KitchenAid mixers, nameplates for like Denali's and like a few other cars that go like on the inside of the door panel. Oh my god. Here goes the neighbor kid. And we also made, seems like there's something else. I don't know, but basically that's it. Some you would have to use like a rivet machine to put like brackets on the back so they're just ready to be installed once they got to wherever. So anyway, I started there working out on presses. And I ended up going, no, I started there in a clean room, in room 1. And you had to wear your clothes and like a clean suit, like a neck to foot suit, and you had to wear your hair in a hairnet, and you had to wear booties over your shoes because they were called clean rooms. Like, you had to be, they didn't want any hair or dirt or anything there. And I started in room 1 doing that. Then I being out on the presses. I ended up being quality assurance for a couple years. Then I was like over that and went back out to presses. Then I ran like clean rooms, room 3. And then the last thing I did there was room 3 tape machine. So I tape the parts coming out of room 3. When I first started there, we worked on 3 8-hour shifts. When I was working those, it was sometime during when I was working the 8-hour shifts, I think it was. I was trying to go to college too, which is about impossible. Because I lived in Shawnee. School was out in Eastgate and Lima, out at College, Road State. Well, it was Lima Tech then. Work was in Wapak. So I'd get up. I get up like 8 o'clock in the morning. Go to school. I think I was at school till like 1 p.m. Leave school, get to work. I had to work 2 to what? 2 to 10. Sometimes we work 10-hour days. And sometimes we work 12-hour days. It just depended. When I'd go home, try and do my homework, get to bed, and do it all over again. It was just too much. I ended up quitting college. Stupid. So, yeah. So I worked there for 9 or 10 years. We worked 6 and 7 days a week. On an 8-hour day, you got 1 20-minute break. It was paid, but it was just a 20-minute break. On a 10-hour day, you got to have a 20-minute break, or like a 20-minute lunch break. I think like 1 10-minute break or 15-minute break. It was stupid. So we were always like sneaking out to smoke cigarettes and stuff. I smoked back then. Anyway, the company had its ups and downs. Like, I only made like 8 something an hour starting out. And when I left there after 10 years, because they didn't give raises, I only made like 9 something. But here's why I hate the company. So they went through a bunch of changes. We had ups and downs. We ended up going through a huge like layoff. Like a temporary layoff. And for that layoff, I got moved to a different plant. I got moved to plant 3 in Wapak. I was right down the street. And it's the plant that only did burner bowls. So in that plant, it was like totally different setup and setting. There were these huge racks that hung from the ceiling. They had like all these prongs on them that would like stick out. You know, burner bowls have like that little cutout in the middle for where they sit in your stove. Okay, so what you do as these racks are moving, you're trying to take these burner bowls and squeeze them onto these prongs. Like as these huge racks are moving, I did it 1 or 2 days, and I just, like, I have little teeny tiny hands, and I don't have very good hand strength. So, after a couple days of trying it, I just couldn't do it. The burner bowls are hitting the floor. I'm getting frustrated. I'm in tears. Like, I cannot, I literally physically cannot do this. I do not have the hand strength to do it. And the supervisor told me, what was his name? His name was like Shell, I think. Anyways, he said, you know, don't worry about it. There's a lot of people that can't do it because you have to have hand strength to do it. He said, so don't worry about it. He said, go ahead and go home. He said, call HR in the morning and tell them that I sent you home because you physically couldn't do it. So the next morning I went home. Or the next morning, I mean, I went home. The next morning I called HR. Told them what was going on. I think I left a message with the one girl, Melanie, who was like the main HR person. So later that day, she calls and leaves a message on my answering machine saying that since I left and could not do the job, that was my automatic quit. That I quit on the spot. And I was like, no, I didn't. I was told to go home. My supervisor told me to go home because I physically couldn't do the job. Well, somehow, or for some reason, my mom kept that message on the answering machine. And she recorded it. Well, within the next week or two, I was trying to do workers' comp. Is that what it's called? No, unemployment. It was like, okay, everybody else that got laid off is doing unemployment. So I tried to do unemployment, and they're saying, no, I didn't qualify for unemployment because I quit. And I'm like, no, I did not quit. Like, why would I quit? So I don't remember who all we contacted. It came out of like a huge ordeal where we had to actually go to court. Because first, HR said that it was an automatic quit because I couldn't do it. Then they said that they didn't have a spot for me since I couldn't do the job. And then we had like our court hearing. We didn't have to actually go in a courtroom. We had a court hearing, over the phone. And the lady from HR, her reason of what happened was totally different from all the things that she had told me. And it did not go with what she left on my answer machine, saying that since I left and couldn't do the job, there was an automatic quit. So, in our little court hearing, she stated her version of the story, and I stated mine. And then when we played back the tape for the hearing, that proved that she was lying in court. So, I won my case. I got a pretty decent check paying me for all the time that I had missed from this whole situation. Which by the time the court hearing went down, it might have been like a month or so. I don't even remember. But, fine. So I won my case. I was in the right. HR was in the wrong. I got, like, unjustly fired for absolutely no reason. I got my check. And then the downfall is, they said, well, since you've had these issues, you can no longer work with the company because there'd be, like, too much tension and too much going on. So it's like, I went through all these hour changes, all these 6 and days. We worked 6 and 7 days a week for, like, a month straight before we got a day off. Like, that place was hell. It was not air conditioned. We had to walk around with these bands around our neck because it was so hot. Like, people were dropping all the time. They actually made me leave once to go to the hospital because I broke out in hives because I was so hot. And in the wintertime, we'd have, like, space heaters, like, on the floor at our press because it was so cold. So, yeah, I won my case, and I proved him wrong, and she got caught lying, but therefore I no longer had a job. So this company that I worked for and busted my ass for 10 years, now I no longer have a job. Which at that point, I hated the company anyway and didn't really care. But then, so I just collected unemployment for a little while. But then when you apply on job applications, okay, that was like the only real job I had. That was like, I started that job like a year out of high school. I'd worked there for 10 years. So even like my last job, they want to know your most recent job. Okay, I worked there for 10 years. I had a few other jobs here and there, but it's like, when you put on there that you worked for this place for 10 years and they want to know why did you get fired? It's like, well, no. And then reason for leaving. So every time I go to an interview for a job, they would ask what happened. So I have to tell them the whole story of what happened. And then it's like, okay, do we want to hire this girl? Like, if she doesn't get her way, she's gonna sue us. Like, which wasn't even the case. Like, they did me wrong and they lied in court about what really happened. So I think for quite a few of the like better jobs I've applied for since then, I think that might be partially why I didn't get them, because I met all the qualifications. It was like, I don't know, would I want to hire somebody who, okay, they worked for this place and they ended up going to court and, you know, winning their case against this company? Like, you know what I mean? Which sucks. It's like I literally busted my butt for that place. When I was quality, we would have to run out like sample parts to send to a customer to see if they would approve it for them to want us to make their product. It was to the point where the actual engineers would leave it for me to do, and they wouldn't even come in to double check it. They would leave it up to me because they knew I was like so freaking picky that I would not send bad parts to a customer to get approved for us to, you know, pick up their deal. I did so many different jobs, so many different positions without pay for 10 freaking years, and that's what I get in the end of it. So after that, I decided I don't want any jobs that are like serious and like super important. I don't want them. For what? You stress yourself out and you're drive yourself crazy and you bust your butt for a place for that. It's like I don't want any job that has much responsibility. I'll go be a housekeeper. You know, I'll go be a cashier. I'll go stock shelves. I actually did go to another factory after that where we took ground up plastic and melted it down. We ground it down and ran it through these, what the heck are they called? I can't think of what it's called. Extruder. And they would run through the extruder, and then they'd be super hot, like super hot plastic. So I'd run like through this water trough, and they'd go up through this conveyor. They would chop it into like little teeny tiny pellets, and then we'd send the pellets out to places that would melt them down to make like Rubbermaid tubs and stuff like that. After I started there at like $12 an hour, so I started there through a temp agency, making more than when I left the other company that I worked for 12 years. But this one, after like a year and a half of them being open, they pretty much decided that they were going to close their doors and go back to Maryland, where they were from. So I got laid off again. And while I was laid off from that job and on unemployment, I met up with Jay and we got engaged, and he told me I didn't have to work. So I did work cleaning for like a heart doctor's office. I worked as a housekeeper at Country Inn and Suites. That was like in between my 10-year job and then the one at the other factory. Like I said, Jay said I didn't have to work, and then there were times that I'd have work just because like I'm going crazy in this house, like staring at four walls, you know, being a stay-at-home mom. So since Jay and I got together, I've worked at Meijer 2 separate times, once as a cashier and then once stocking shelves, which I had to quit this stocking shelves job because I was on third shift, and he got a promotion on third shift at his job. That was a couple years ago. And then a few months after that, I ended up pregnant with Alex. And I worked at St. Rita's for like 2 years, 2.5 years, a year and a half, I think 2 years, doing housekeeping. Last year at Christmas time, I worked at Toys R Us for the holiday season. But yeah, that company. It's so funny because like my favorite house in this entire city is one of the owners of the company. Well, it might be like a brother. So I think 3 brothers that owned it, but then like as some passed away, they passed it down to their sons. But it's their family's house. It's like my favorite house. I show it at Christmas time every year. It looks like a little smaller version of the Playboy Mansion. It's all stone. It has a pond out back. It's beautiful. Yeah, go figure. Of all the houses in this whole entire city, my favorite house is the company that totally screwed me. That just sucks. Like 10 years. 10 years working all different hours, all different shifts, every position they needed you to do with no extra pay. And that's how you get dealt. That's how you leave the company. Like, it really sucks. Because I honestly thought that when they proved her wrong, they'd be like, okay, she has her job back. She didn't do anything wrong. And no. I didn't do anything wrong, but I can't have my job back because that's too much bad water between me and the company. Even though it wasn't even the company, it was just the one lady HR that lied. So yeah. It makes me mad just thinking about it. What a bunch of jerks. So yeah, now I work here and there. Make YouTube videos. I love making my videos. I have so many amazing friends on here. I do it at my own time. I work on my own schedule. That place, like, there were times when they were going through tough times in different management that they came in and got rid of people, like, walked them out that had been there for, like, 32 years. Like, supervisor. Like, you know, I'm sorry, but we decided we're making cuts, and this is your last day. Go ahead and pack up your office. Like, it's just a shitty company. But, no. I made some really good friends there. And I left there in 2008 or 2009. Sorry, I got like... I left there in 2008, 2009. And then in January of 2012, like 2 weeks before I had Adriana, my sister and my mom had my baby shower. And like so many people from my old job were there that I hadn't seen since I left there, 4 years before. And it makes me cry because like they were like my family. Like for 10 years we were all together like 5 to 7 days a week for 10 to 12-hour days. I mean, it was very odd that we worked 8-hour days. Like, it was just amazing that after all those years, 4 years of not seeing me or doing anything, and they were in my baby shower. Yeah, it was awesome. But anyway, that's a shitty company I worked for. That's the story. I talked about it before. I'm sending you to do a story time about it. And you guys were like, yeah, we want to hear a story time about that job. So there you go. I'm full. I didn't eat for 48 hours, so now it's like it doesn't take much for me to be full. But yeah, that's the end of my story. I hope you enjoyed eating some Mexican food. Did I even show it to you? It doesn't look very good in there, but I really have in the salsa. It's the best salsa. And the chips are amazing when they're fresh. But yeah, that's the end of my story. Give me a thumbs up if you like story times or story time eat with me's. And is that an onion? It is. Big old chunk of onion. Yeah, I thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys.